Let's talk about creating a custom report that just contains the metrics that you are interested in. You use the Manage Reports button to create or modify reports. And there's a lot of counters available to choose from. RPT splits them into two categories: for interval metrics, which are useful for line graphs because they just show the last sampled interval. So if you put a bunch of last sampled intervals together, you get a nice line. The for run metrics are useful for tables because for run, when you're using plateaus, it shows the data for the entire plateau. The thing is, there are so many metrics available that it's hard to know which ones to use. And finally, resource-related data is treated differently from other metrics, so I'll have to go over that separately. So let me show you how to create your own reports. First of all, when you're looking at a run result, you pick the Manage Reports button. To create it from scratch, you don't actually have to be looking at a report. You name the report. And then you insert a format that you want to use. I'm going to use a 4-tab or 4 graphics report. It's going to have 4 separate tables on it. And you give it a title. And for looking at after a run, there's no reason to see a run progress indicator. If you have a line chart that's going to show data in progress, it's not bad to show the data in progress, the run progress indicator. I'm going to create a table, and I'm going to give it a title. Well, should give it a title, but I didn't. I'm going to pick, for this one, I'm going to have run statistics, because I'm going to show how many users are running. So I'll pick active users for run, count for run. And I'm going to add another graphic. I'm going to add a page performance counter. It's like I said, it's hard to figure out which one to use. So I'm going to use attempts completed. I believe I should have used something to do with hits, because this is not, turns out to be not the one I really wanted. But I'll get hits per second, attempts completed per second for run, which is, yeah, that would, per second for run would be average each second for the plateau. And then I'm going to add average response time for all pages for run. Once again, there's so many choices here, it's hard to know which ones to choose. So those 3 counters will be available in this table. Let me see, next I'm going to create another table. This one I do remember to give it a title. Quotes per second. And response times. I'll make a table. I mean, there are other choices. You can make bar charts and line charts, but I'm making a table here that is useful for comparisons. Then I will have to add some counters to this table. And I'm going to add total transactions started for run. Add another counter. You can see there's awful lot to choose from. Average response times for all pages for run. Those are in milliseconds. And now I'm going to add another chart, another table, and I'm going to use some resource information, CPU utilization. And I'll pick from the resource monitoring counts. Now the resource monitoring counts are different from the other ones, and the reason that they're different is that there are so many possibilities to choose from that they couldn't reasonably figure out what to show you here because they don't know what you're monitoring. If you're monitoring Windows, if you're monitoring Unix, which version of Windows, which version of Unix. So what they do is they treat it differently than those. They don't give you choices here, and the best thing to do is pick automatically add all resources counters to graphic as they appear in the result, and then you can filter it later, which I'll go over later. And if I want to see how many bytes are sent or received, I'll create another graphic. It's my fourth table that will show up. And on that one, I'll add the run statistics. Throughput, there's run, bytes received, bytes sent for a run. And I didn't say per second per run, so that will be for the entire interval. So you just have to keep that in mind. If you have a 15-minute run, the interval is going to be bytes sent for all 15 minutes. Okay, now once we have a report, we can share it with other people. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to export a report. You can not only share it with other people, but you can import it into other workspaces you have yourself. So you file, export, you pick a performance test report to export. You pick which report you want to do, and there's my new custom report that I created. You decide where you're going to put it. And then you export it. And at that point, it's available on your file system. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch workspaces, and I'm going to go to a workspace that I have an actual result in it. And I'm going to import that result, that report into this workspace, so it'll be available here. I just navigate to the place in the file system where I put it, and there it is. So I'll import it, and once I import it, that report is going to be available to me. Now here I'm looking at a result, and I have the report available. I'm going to compare 4 stages, 4 plateaus, and I'm going to choose my new custom report that I just imported, and you'll see it has the 4 graphics that I put on that page, or 4 graphics that I put on that report. Now you can see here that my CPU utilization report has got every possible performance monitor measurement that we have got, which is more than I really wanted. So in the next section, I will show you how to modify this report to just choose the elements that are available in your environment that you care about. I should point out here at the bottom that it tells you when you're comparing plateaus, which measurement is which. Run 1 is 55 users, run 2 is 65, run 3 is 75. So that's your key to what the different runs are in this comparison. Resource data, as I mentioned, it's treated separately. The available data depends on what's monitored. And in Windows, any data that Windows Performance Monitor can report is in there. And there's a ton of items. And it's different for different versions of Windows. On Unix, you can get anything that RStatD makes available. and different versions of Unix makes different counters available. Now I should mention that to set up rstat-d, you must be running the rstat-d daemon, and sometimes firewalls can get in your way, so you might have to disable some or open some ports on the firewall. I'm not going to tell you how to do that here. Go look at your operating system documentation for that. But the bottom line is there are too many possibilities for RPT to give you choices when you're setting up the report. So what you do is select all available counters as I demonstrated, and once you have a run that monitors those results, you show the results using the report, and then you remove the counters that you don't want to see. And then you save the modified report, and at that point that report will have only the items that you care about. And typically I want to show CPU information, and on Windows it shows you CPU utilization, but on Unix there's different ways that you can calculate CPU utilization. My usual favorite way is just using idle time, and then you subtract that from 100 to get the total CPU utilization. So I'm going to show you how to filter that report. And pick only the counters you care about. So when you're looking at a report, I use my new custom report. This is a different workspace, so the items present are a little bit different, but it still lets me demonstrate how to filter it. So you click on the report, right-click on the report, you click Add or Remove Performance Counters. You pick the resource monitoring counters. Now, one thing you can see I'm having trouble here. It won't let me select that because I have a checkbox at the bottom of the screen that says automatically add all counters. So once you uncheck that, then you can selectively remove. Now I'm just trying to demonstrate here how to show only CPU counters. So I'm going to unselect all memory counters, unselect all disk counters, and all byte sent received counters, leaving just the processor ones. And I'm going to pick average for run, processor time average for run, and voila, I'm left with just one counter, and that's the one I care about. Now you can obviously select different sets of counters, but I was just demonstrating how to pick the one for CPU. And this is Windows CPU, and if you were using Unix type CPU, then you'd have to pick another one as well. So that is how you create a custom report. Use the Manage Reports button. There's differences between for interval counters and for run counters. For interval is useful for line graphs, and for run metrics is useful for tables. There's tons of metrics available, and you'll have to poke your way through these counters to find the ones you care about. And the resource data is treated differently from other metrics. And in a later talk, I'm going to show you the counters that I select for my favorite reports.